What's up, Solutionaries? Maj 2 Ray here. Want to talk to y'all real quick about dealing with people that make these statements that they make and remembering to understand that that's how these people are. Saw my guy Jeff post something about a book that an author wrote. And the author was known for like a cartoon character or something like that back in the day. And about a year or two ago, he said some things like, yo, all white people should get away from black people. You shouldn't help them. Just that type of thing. Now, First Amendment, right? Everybody got the freedom to say whatever they want to say. Everybody gets that pass, right? You get to talk about and express how you genuinely feel. And in the process of somebody saying how they feel, you should actually understand that that's how they really feel, especially when it's moments of anger or they're drunk. You know, the whole thing about like a drunk mind speaks a sober tongue and shit like that. But anyway, I want to give you all a quick backdrop on what was said, the context of the person, and the solution to how you deal with this and moving forward. So, this is what was said initially. Again, my guy Jeff said he's reading this guy's book. The guy's name is Scott Adams, right? He's reading this book. It's a great book. And what I said to that was, because the name peeked up to me, and I'm like, isn't that the guy who pushed the racial divide and told white Americans to not trust and or engage with black Americans? Hard pass on anyone who promotes racism, in my view, old or new content. Now, before I move further, again, this is someone that supposedly heard a poll that said most black Americans dislike or distrust, white people, right? Now, all of a sudden, we now believe in polls. Polls are not accurate. There's a great book called How to Lie with Data and Statistics or something like that. Everybody should check it out. But polls do not speak to everything. This is like when people lean on per capita. They say, oh, well, this happened, so this is exactly what it is. It's almost like saying, since there's a lot of black NBA players, that all black people or the vast majority of black people are great at basketball. It's just not really true. But anyway, this poll was said, and his response to it was, yo, then I'm just done helping black people. White people, you should move away from black people, so forth and so on. And later on, not too long after that, I was surprised that some of the people that I follow that we're friends, they still engage with this person. So I wanted to believe, like, yo, it's something that I'm missing, right? But I looked at the whole video. There was no context missing. So giving y'all that backdrop there. So when I see my friend posting this, I say, yo, ain't that dude? And then this guy jumps in and says this. No, not on an individual level. That would just limit one's access to lots of great people. The media lies, context was removed. Now that's a fair assessment. That's fair to say, hey, I didn't really mean that way. Media, as y'all all know, most effective devil in America, it does what it do. It's designed to separate, break unity, and all that other good stuff. We all know that it's solutionaries. We know that. The unfortunate part for this person in this space was I watched the entire video of him saying, I'm not going to help white people, black people, white people, you should move away. And when he made the video, I tended to notice that he had like a slur, like he had a nice little buzz going, right? And again, that drunk mind speak a sober tongue. Wasn't there, don't know if he was absolutely drunk, but what I do know is how that thought process popped into my head when I initially saw the video. So I saw the whole video in full. For a while I was like, well, maybe I'm missing some context. I did a little bit more digging. This was a couple of years ago. There was no context. You heard the poll of what the person, this random poll made available to social media via media, and you said what you said. Cool. Now, even with that, he made this statement saying, nah, that was taken out of context, so forth and so on. We solutionaries, we objective. I was a little objective, and I said this. I'm aware of the games media plays, therefore objective. Link the correct context in this thread so I can create content on it and publicly retract my statement. Because I publicly jumped out there and said, yo, ain't this the dude that did X, Y, and Z? And if somehow I missed the context, I want to create it. In life, if you attack somebody, you critique somebody, you missing context, you just wrong, the same level of public, yo, I was wrong about that, should go into the same vigor that you had for calling somebody's contradictions. That's what we believe as solutionaries. So I already knew there was a very slim chance that I missed the context from when he said it however long ago. So I said what I said, present it, and I'll retract my statement. This is what he says. I'm not that interested. Then I said, neither am I. I do enjoy that you showed up to prove my point. Go away. I already knew that there was no other context. I already knew that he said what he said in that moment. And now, after the fact, however long ago, later, he wants to try to package it like, oh no, 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 I'm more of an individual. I don't group people generally and collectively. And that's just not true. In that moment of anger and frustration, you said what you really felt. Then when I gave the humble opportunity to say, you know what, if I missed it still, go ahead and put it in the thread so I can publicly retract that. Because I put some smut on your name. I said you about some shit that you have the opportunity to say, because I may have missed it. You have the opportunity to say, here's the fuller context. This ties into the example of people saying Trump was praising the Nazis, good people on both sides. There's way more to that video than what the media put out. So staying open to that, I give that opportunity. He says, I'm not that interested. These people slip up and say what they really feel. These people bank on some time going past for us not to hold them accountable for their words and or actions. These people on all so-called sides, black, white, everything in between, you'll say these generalized collectivist statements about a group of people based on bullshit media polls or content from some of the worst of some groups. For example, if you see a bunch of the chick that just called the 5-year-old the N-word in the video, and if you black and you go, see, that's how all white people think, that's bullshit. You took that moment where somebody, the lowest IQ of the group, of the bunch, of the so-called collective that you're admonishing at the moment, you then generalize everybody into a part of that group when convenient because you let your anger, your bigotry, and what you really feel, the malice in your heart, you let that shit pop off. That's what happened. So when you give somebody an opportunity to actually fix that and they don't, because there's nothing really to say, and most people generally go, oh, he didn't really mean it. That's what they bank on. Some of y'all still in H&M. Some of y'all still support Gucci. Gucci had a whole black-faced, red lip, big thing that was clearly blackface. I haven't been to Gucci since. H&M put out a shirt that said, with a young kid with a monkey on his shirt or something, said the coolest monkey in the jungle. I have not been to H&M ever since. That's my power to voluntarily disassociate from shit that I just disagree with. There is a way to collectively address the bullshitters and in one overall collective without making everybody seemingly, that's what all of the blacks are. That's what all of the whites are. When these people do that, I personally choose to not be associated with them anymore. Because we as solutionaries, black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever, we are looking to unify America and put America in a space where it's supposed to be. Liberty, justice, freedom for all, not with asterisks. And that mentality that most people, again, the malice in their heart that's corrupted their mind, and now they every so often speak it verbally, especially on social media. They put that out there because they haven't fixed that malice in their heart. They aren't willing to say, among their own so-called in-group, they aren't willing to say, nah, that's bullshit. Don't call all Americans that happen to be more melanated, low IQ, such and such and such on some race-based narrative shit when they're friends that happen to be in their same group are saying it. They don't do that. If you black and you got white, cool-ass white homies, Asian homies, Spanish homies, whatever, Latin American homies, doesn't matter. When some of your black homies, and I'm not talking about jokes, because I'm not talking about this over-sensationalized, everything's too sensitive. But when somebody's really, really speaking these general terms and you don't say nothing about it, you a part of that bullshit tribe or you just a coward. Either you a part of that and you really think that, or you're too cowardly to say that ain't how we roll. My tribe ain't fucking color. My tribe is solution-based, liberty-minded solutionaries. And most people get comfortable because they know that your memory or their lame excuses will hold up if your memory holds up. They lame excuses without an actual correction will happen, but what's in their mind and their heart, they're welcome to it. But I don't create quarter for that. I actually want to live the Dr. King dream of everybody working together. If you my tribe, you my tribe. And a lot of times, some of you forget that. Some of you don't want to maintain that standard. If you work out and are healthy and you got a system in place, the Solutionary 9 is the Solutionary 9. When I see people going, oh, I'm not doing 75 hard, I'm doing 75 soft. No, you just being soft. You're not doing the actual standard and maintaining it. My standard is non-racism. My standard is individually, move by move, person by person, situation by situation. I do not group an entire group of people based on the lowest level bullshit actions of the worst of that particular group. So you may decide to say, well, it's more convenient to go along and get along and act like what they said ain't what they really think in that moment of passion or anger or drunk or whatever it is. You could not want to call a contradictions. Because conveniently, they want to believe in polls that are given out when it supports their narrative. But when the polls said Donald Trump wasn't going to win the first presidency, we saw how those polls work out. When the polls and the data says most convicted pedophiles in America are white males, I'm not grouping all white males into that. It's corny. It's lame. It doesn't work. I believe that those things are put there to make sure that people aren't working together, but you could believe and apply whatever you want to believe. But I don't know. Maj, you just too race-based, even though I'm talking about unification. Maj, just because somebody said it don't mean they really mean it. Well, if they didn't mean it, why the fuck they saying it? Maj, you just want to hold people to a standard too much. Maybe that's why our country's in a fucked up place that it is, because the standards have eroded as it relates to professionalism, as it relates to honesty, as it relates to genuine context, as it relates to the Constitution. Most of the followers my followers are supposed to be liberty-minded or conservatives. And if you're conserving the Constitution, you maintain a standard. But if you don't want to maintain a standard, that's fine. And if you think, Maj, you just tripping, put it in the comment section. You say something that I think is accurate, I'll agree with you. I'm objective that way. But if you say something wrong, you're going to get some pushback in the comment section. This is the reason why we have a group of solid individuals that want to push each other in our Solutionary 9 private group. We want to make sure that we can see good people from all backgrounds, Americans of all backgrounds, pushing towards a standard. So we're not having such a horrible victimized mentality that everybody's under attack and every single person that you want that doesn't look exactly like you is out to get you. That's not what we live, and that's not what we push. And when you go outside and touch grass, you start to see that that's not the actual reality. If you want to be around those type of people and you want that to be your actual tribe that's pushing you to get better and improve, go over to solutionaryuniversity.org, sign up for the Solutionary 9 membership. Meal plans, workout routines, shooting drills, civics, and understanding of liberty. All of these things are put together in 9 daily activities and a community of people that want to push each other to be better, if that's you. My name is Maj Toure, the founder of Solutionary University. Hope to see you in the group soon. Be safe, be solutionary.